Live from the UK, broadcasting around the world, you're listening to Talking Minaret, discussing matters that affect you, streaming to the world and beyond.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, how's it going? Some of you might be aware that the whole Suez Canal boat incident happened. It's like one of the worst traffic jams in history. The giant container ship Ever Given got wedged in the Suez Canal. About 300 ships were waiting in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean to enter the canal. The Ever Given is among the largest container ships in the world. It's roughly the same length of the Empire State Building in New York. 400 meters long, can carry 20,000 cargo containers, and the shortest route would have been through Egypt. It's a massive shortcut, rather than having to go around the African continent, adding 10 days travel time. Hence, it's the most important trade route, offering the transport between Europe and Asia, it's crazy that the Muslims, through the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, control so much in terms of resource and trade routes and everything, and still win the situation that we are. It offers a shortcut for the massive quantities between China and the manufactured goods there to the huge market of customers in Europe. 10% of the world's goods go through the canal every year, so it's big business. Roughly 51 cargo ships carrying $10 billion, carrying oil, gas, grain, consumer goods pass through it every day. It's the main reason for its geopolitical significance, and it generated $5 billion in fees alone. It could be said that the media was over-dramatizing the incident. The canal contributes to shipping around 10% of world trade, 8% in gas, and 1 million oil barrels a day, i.e. $10 billion a day. The incident was the third in a series of disasters in Egypt within days. Some of you who might read a bit more further will know the fact that the incident was the third in a series of disasters in Egypt within days. It occurred after the train crash and the collapse of a 12-floor building that caused the death of several people. The incident itself was like a heavy blow to Sisi. He was trying to turn the whole expanding of the canal into a national landmark, into like an example of his leadership in Egypt. Some said that the strong winds and sandstorms were the cause of the incident, but the environmental agencies in Egypt announced that the speed of the winds recorded on the day of the incident was no more than 51 kilometers per hour, with the presence of a sandstorm, which is not unusual for the region. The Admiral Asama Rabi, chairman and managing director of the Suez Canal Authority, said the weather conditions were not the main cause that led the ship to get wedged, adding that human or technical errors might have been the cause. According to AP News, experts confirmed that it would have been difficult for 51-kilometer winds to cause the wedging of the 220,000-ton container ship. Besides, it was not the first incident involving the Ever Given. In 2019, it was involved in an incident with the passenger ship at a German seaport of Hamburg, and the operating company at the time claimed that high winds were the cause of the incident again. Despite all this, the incident has been exploited, we can say that for certain, in weakening the domestic and foreign position of Sisi, and to put it more in line with Biden's participatory democracy to vent the masses' anger. On the backdrop of all this as well, preparations are underway to conclude reconciliation between the regime and the opposition, both Islamic and secularists, via Turkish mediation. This initiative is based on reshaping relations between Egypt and Turkey within the framework of restructuring the Middle East. We've talked about it before in relation to Turkish role in Libya. The incident is also being used to highlight this vital supply chain, to exert pressure on the European states and compel them to reduce their dependence on China. So it may be said that the incident does not support the notion of it being plotted, fine, but it's been definitely exploited, we can say that for certain. There are changes happening within the region, that can be said, like particular happenings, like the blast that triggered the Beirut harbour last summer, leading to putting the port out of service. But then that was followed by normalization of relations between the Emirates and Israel within 1 year. In October, Israel Shipyards Industries has submitted a joint bid with Dubai's DP World in a tender to privatize Israel's Haifa port. The two signed an agreement for exclusive cooperation in the privatization of the port, one of Israel's two main seaports on the Mediterranean coast. Israel Shipyards said the cooperation would help boost ports' competition, lower costs, and establish an advanced international trade and logistics infrastructure. It was also said that it would make Haifa a central hub in the Middle East, turning into a free trade zone. The Israeli energy minister then proposed the admission of the UAE to the East Mediterranean Gas Forum, which includes Israel, Egypt, Greece, Italy, Jordan, and Cyprus. So magnifying the incident is designed to further the normalizations, exploit the huge funds of the Muslims, and integrate the Zionist entity within the region through economic partnership. In addition to the military and security partnerships against the challenges of Iran, we've talked about this before, about the whole Iranian scarecrow tactic that they keep on using to normalize relationships. Some of the normalization projects being proposed are establishing a sea channel via the seaport of Eilat, which will rival the Suez Canal and support the Haifa seaport in the absence of the port of Beirut. There's also the building of a railway between Tel Aviv and Eilat, linking it to a railway to the Gulf states, modernizing the ports of Ashdod and Eilat, and linking the huge Saudi oil fields of Abqaiq to Eilat's seaport to ship Saudi oil to Europe and America via a 200-kilometer highway. These projects, in addition to the previously proposed pipelines to transport Azerbaijan and Kazakh oil, would lead to like a Emirati-Israeli energy center, which would turn into like a main energy passageway for world markets, and sidestepping the dangerous, costly routes of Hormuz and Suez Canal. This is all geared towards integrating Israel and granting it control of the commodities and oil trade in the Eastern Mediterranean region at the expense of Egypt and the Suez Canal, deepening the poverty of Egypt. Egypt's got a massive population and a massive military force that the Muslims could have relied upon and could still rely upon. So what America and the West are doing now is future-proofing the region for their own benefits. And obviously the traitors like Sisi and co, they're not exactly the most politically astute, and they have in their hands the commodities, the resources of the Muslim people, who they are then being easily manipulated by the West. And what the woman needs is sincere Islamic leadership. So as you can tell, America will use any means for the normalization project to exploit the huge funds of the Muslims and integrate the Zionist entity within the region through economic partnership, as we've discussed, in addition to the military and security partnerships, which we discussed on previous podcasts as well. This makes it incumbent upon the Muslims to stand up to these plots, be aware of them, reject them, and spread this message. Join us next time. Assalamu alaikum.